evening. As usual, I'm sitting here alone in the beginning. Do you ever wonder why that is? I sure do. How's everybody doing? Monday night. Yes, we made it through. Made it through the tornadoes. Hello, Randy. Hello, Anna. Hello, Laura. How are you? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Hey, Celine. John McGinnis. Celine's at the Hoover House. Hello, Michelle. Yvette, is that how you say it? Tommy, how's it going? Glad you survived the storms. Yeah, Teresa. We were fortunate and lucky, and we're going to talk about that. But we know, others out there weren't so fortunate and lucky, and we feel fortunate and lucky that we were kind of right in the middle of all that stuff. Hello, Annette. Heather, how are you? So the way we're going to do this is we're going to talk about Saturday night. We're going to put the link up if anybody wants to join in and talk about your perspective of Saturday night and, what that was like for you all the way around, not just, before, during, after the whole thing. We could talk about the event. We could talk about what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, the whole experience, the warning and all that other stuff. And Chris will post the link eventually.
I did.
Oh, excuse me.
You missed it.
Wow.
I just posted it again.
Wow. She didn't have any coffee yet either. Hello, Deb. James, how are you?
That's what I should have made. I should have made myself a cup of coffee.
Okay, so there's the link there. New Jersey Paranormal StreamYard. So if anybody, like I said, wants to join in, talk about their perspective, their experience, anything that happened that we weren't part of, feel free to chime in. Feel free to join us.
You did, Mark. You missed a really a very eventful evening.
Before we jump into, that Cake Boss picture was taken many, many moons ago at the Barron Arts Center, actually, that I posted. We were there for, I can't remember what.
It was the flamingo dancers was retiring.
Somebody's anniversary of retirement, and we got invited because they were filming there, and we got to come in. And I was on the episode a lot. I was eating cake and the whole thing. That got me.
He was.
When they see talent, they say, "Hey, get this guy up front." So again, the link is there. Anybody wants to join, we'll see you as a guest backstage. We'll let you in as we're going here. If you want to jump in, feel free to do that. I'm curious to hear other people's perspective and what they were feeling, and
maybe we can get Jim to come on.
The things that they experienced, all that other stuff. Hey, Taryn, how are you? So, it all started back in December. Believe it or not, we're going way back. We're going way back. We had been talking.
It started long before that too.
Yeah, we had been talking to John Zaffis for a while about doing an event together, and John was going to be on, but John is speaking at a college, so John wasn't available tonight or tomorrow. So we may do this again with John on Wednesday, maybe Thursday, or even maybe Tuesday. I don't know. John will come on and we'll talk about his experience and what he thought of the whole thing. So you have that to look forward to. But we don't want to wait all the way till Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe do a creeper investigation or whatever and have that in the middle. We wanted to, while this was still fresh in our mind, get to this and talk about it. So I'd been asking John forever to come do an event with New Jersey Paranormal. And finally, John agreed. And back in December, we of all dates, April 1st, April Fool's was the day.
Wasn't that the, literally, isn't the date alone just like you knew something unusual was going to happen just with that alone?
So April 1st, when we announced the event sold out really, really fast.
Yeah.
And, tickets were available maybe the week or the day I announced it or two, and then it all sold out. So been looking forward to it. since the beginning of the year, knowing it was on the calendar. So I'd been in touch with John this week and sending him the information for the event, Camp Evans, where it was at, telling him a little bit about the place. We booked him a hotel, and we had gotten there early. And we've been tracking the weather because I had read a few times that storms were possible, heavy winds and everything. But we were more concerned from our end. We didn't know anything about tornadoes or anything. It was just heavy rain, high wind. And so we were talking about we wanted to use more buildings, and to do that, we would have to move people to the parking lot. And we were talking. Chris actually went out and bought umbrellas from Walmart. So we were kind of still thinking with Robert and Sandra there from Beer for Paranormal that we were still going to make use of those buildings. We were going to have people walk across the parking lot. We'd have umbrellas so they wouldn't get wet. And as we kept tracking the weather, even I was looking the day before, 2 days before, I kept looking and I kept seeing, high winds, gusts up to this. I
think when you saw that there was going to be a thunderstorm, like with lightning and stuff, that's when you finally said, yeah, we're going to have to stick to one building. I think that's what I was actually
getting to that part.
I'm good. I helped you along.
Okay, thank you. Let's just fast forward button. And then we left and everyone was safe.
Hey.
The end. Good night, everyone.
And the winds died down and the wind went away.
No pacing. Pacing is a foreign word.
No, but we were
some people as far as storytelling.
But the whole thing is that we were going back and forth from the day before all the way up, driving down there, just going back and forth and talking about the whole, do we try to, if it's just a light rain, like it was saying, by the time that we would start the actual, changing and going to the different buildings, the rain was supposed to drop down to 20% and not be a big deal. But then it just kept unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. And we were just like, literally down to what we were there. We're getting ready to set up, and then
we got there early. We got there at 3:30-ish, and the event didn't start till 6. The meet and greet with John, but we had made the decision not to leave that one. The InfoH building is huge. There's plenty of room in the InfoH building.
Oh yeah.
Top to bottom, multiple floors, long floors. So we had said, you know what? Rather than risk it, let's keep everybody in one building, and there's still plenty, and that's an active building all by itself. So we decided on that. So we, when we arrived there, it was sunny and 70 degrees. It was beautiful. We have the picture out front with when John arrived, even.
It was hot.
And even when Gloria was there to open up the different areas for us and the different rooms for us. She was saying, there's storms coming. Where are they coming from? There's not a cloud in the sky. And I'm like, I don't know. I keep the app and I keep checking the weather. And they said this stuff is coming. So John gets there, 5 o'clock. We take John through a tour of the whole, the building we're using, explain to him what we're doing and how we're doing it. 6 o'clock, people are arriving. The meet and greet starts. John sold a bunch of books. John was engaging with everybody that was there. And we were happy because, again, John was there. And if you'd ever been around John or done an event with John, he is who he is. He's very engaging, very honest, very open, funny, So people were enjoying the meet and greet for the hour. And then John gets up to do a lecture. And John is amazing.
He's a consummate speaker.
He is just perfection at lecturing. He's up there telling stories. He's talking about himself. He's talking about Ed and Lorraine. I mean, just if you missed it, I feel bad for you guys because he just, that alone was worth hanging out and being there. So we get through the lecture, and we were going to take about 15 minutes for a bathroom break before we got into the ghost hunt. And we're kind of talking amongst ourselves and we're planning. And all of a sudden at one time, you just hear boop, boop, everybody's phone. Everybody's phone all at once. You're talking 40 people, or more, everybody at once. And we had said to people, as we're watching things, look, if anything happens, if we get any kind, we have to retreat to the basement. We got a big building, cement building, brick.
Yeah, we devised the
strong
plan ahead of
building.
time.
So we were like, literally, everybody's alarms going off. So we're like, come on, everybody in the basement, everybody in the basement. Now we didn't know, we saw the alert, but we were like, okay, let's just go there because it said seek shelter now. So here we go. 40 people down in the basement. Everybody had flashlights like they do at our event. We hand them out to everyone, and we're down there and we're watching. The video I posted was from Chris's phone, and you could hear.
Oh yeah, and that was where I took that video from. You would think that I was upstairs somewhere, but I was literally at the bottom stairs of the basement and filming and recording it from right there where you could. And I came down. I'm like, hey, it's hailing out there. The wind is pretty crazy. And then when I came back down, boom, the water started leaking into the basement.
It sounded like it sounded like a million pebbles were hitting the windows.
Oh yeah.
And lightning and wind, and we saw the trees going, and we're again in the basement, and Jim just mentioned it. Water started coming into the basement, so we're like,
pretty quick.
We're either going to get crushed or we're going to drown. So we're going to take our pick here. And I'm joking because you're trying to keep everybody kind of calm and safe, and we're all together. We all have our flashlights, and I'm like saying to people, God, it'd be just my luck. The event that John Zaffis got crushed in a tornado, I'll be forever in infamy as the event that invited John Zaffis and caused his demise. And so we were down there watching on several people's radar, and Jim was one of them, and there were some others. We were watching the band of storms that were moving, and they were moving quick. And we waited down there for about 20 minutes until we heard the hail and stuff stop. And it stopped. We could see the band of storms were kind of mostly past us. And literally right on schedule for when the ghost hunt really should have started. We went back upstairs. We kind of regrouped. And we started again with the event. And it was funny.
If it never happened.
Because prior to that, I had to, like, right after John finished with the lecture, I went up there and started kind of talking about stuff that I normally do and it was like, I said to everyone, it was like a guy who just, picked up guitar trying to follow Eddie Van Halen. John is just perfection as a speaker, and his experience he just commands the room, so I'm up there talking about kind of piggybacking off of what he was saying about energy and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, they just heard from this guy. They're not going to want to hear from me. So we do what we usually do, where people ghost hunt with all of us. And the building was charged up, man.
Oh.
Charged up big time.
I don't think there's honestly, there isn't a bad spot in that place at all.
The building's awesome. So the building was charged up due to, again, all the lightning and all the wind and and literally we found out after that literally 2 tornadoes touched down a mile. Robert was telling me a mile in either direction. There were 5 total touchdowns in New Jersey and Jackson Township.
We were kind of right. It was like right around us. It was just like when it did a circle right around us. It was like insane.
We got really, really lucky. But again, thank God nobody was hurt. There wasn't a lot of damage, in the parking lot or in the area where we were.
No, we were lucky.
And we continued on with the event, and the event was awesome. I mean, we had a great time. It was really, really cool. Having John there, and John was with every group, and I was with him last, so it was midnight or close to midnight by the time I was.
But we do have to point out, and that's because we have some people that were there that night that are on here. When that furnace down in the basement went off, everybody thought it was a tornado. Like a tornado was like it went moo. Like if anybody's been in a tornado, when a tornado's coming at you, those high winds, it kind of like the best way to phrase it is like a freight train. It's like a freight train that's coming. And it's like, and when that dang heater went off, that furnace went off, all of us, our hearts just went boom.
I think we all thought that it was right over us, and we were waiting for whatever happened next. And because thank God it was the boiler because or the heating because
yes, that scared a lot of us.
We'd have been screwed. So again, to everyone's credit, everybody was calm.
Yeah.
Nobody was panicking. Nobody was saying anything. Everybody was checking kind of the weather. Everyone was talking.
Somewhere ghost hunting down there.
Everyone was kind of talking to each other, and again, there was no panic. Everyone was still keeping their spirits up, no pun intended. And we were all just gonna ride it out together. No matter how long it took, because we didn't know.
And the structure we're in is very, very sound. I mean, I've been in a lot of tornadoes in Florida, so I you understand. But we had this planned out. We knew what to expect and where to go, and we were pretty secure. I mean, it would had to have been a really horrific, really like long lasting, like hard hitting big tornado to take that building down, because that building is just.
But even the area around us, I mean, people would have had to go home afterwards. And
stuff.
Yeah, and
getting out of there would have
been. They
were
difficult. Wondering, did the tornadoes touch down and where they lived? We were wondering that too when we were out of there. It didn't stop us from going to the Wawa and getting bagels and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was strange. I mean, all of us thought it. Even when it was over, I mean, everybody had a good time. John had a great time, and we all kind of looked at each other. John and I and everyone were saying goodbye. Like, we're not going to forget this one.
No, that one's for the
anytime soon. We've done a million events, and that one will stand out for me in so many ways because
we did a ghost hunt where before we even could go in and do the event, there was a fire in the wall of this building, and the fire department had to come and everything. It's like it wasn't. They were able to do a detection thing and find out and put it out very quickly, but it was just one of those hopped up things where all of a sudden you're getting ready to do an event and there's 50 million fire trucks there and there's nothing you could do. But this tops it.
Yeah, this was, again, I'll never forget this one, and the people that were there, and John being there, and John, I'm sure he was saying to himself, never again. This guy invites me all the time. This is what I get
for finally doing it with John.
And a freaking tornadoes are going on. It was like, you couldn't write a better story for an event. But yeah, we were okay. Everyone was okay, thank God. Everyone was so cool about it when it was going on. I'm sure people were kind of worried.
Like you said, after everything was over and done, we were just worried about making that everybody was getting home and that they weren't going to run into difficulties going home, because we didn't know what the conditions were out there.
But we continued on with the ghost hunt, and it was awesome. I mean, I think pretty much everyone had a good time, going around the building, and the energy, the building was charged because of whatever was going, maybe all the anxiety of the people who were there, who knows what, along with the energy in the air from the lightning and stuff. But man, it was supercharged. And again, if you get a chance, the July event just sold out, but we're going to be doing at least 3 more there at Camp Evans this year, at least 3 more. You should definitely get a ticket to one of those events, because we have other buildings that we could use, but like Chris said, that one building is enough. I mean, it's just a lot of activity in that building.
Teresa,
could you share some experiences? I can only speak again from my perspective in my group. I know Robert was having a lot of stuff on the second floor, which there were a lot of claims up on that second floor, shadow figures. I know
Is he on here tonight?
Yeah, but he's probably working. I know Robert probably he told me he saw a bunch of shadow figures up there. He had equipment going off in the hallway where the people work up there in the offices, and they see stuff all the time. He said he got
film of the stuff going off in the hall while we were in the basement waiting out the warnings and everything. Can you talk, or are you at work?
I think he's at work. That's why he's saying I'm able to come on when we do these. But and where I was on the first floor, it was again supercharged. I never had a group back there with me, and we kind of felt like we were kind of communicating with one of the things about Camp Evans is that it's a military research facility, and back during World War I and II, after World War II, they had Nazi scientists that they kind of snuck over here, and they were working, and they gave them an alias and stuff like that, and people didn't know that they were Nazi scientists. And I was communicating with someone who I believe was a Nazi scientist in that area, and it was a female, and she kept going back and forth and back and forth, and it was really, I never had that kind of interaction there, and it was really, really, really cool. I mean, and I enjoyed it the whole entire night. And then, like I said, John came down there the last uh, group with me, and he was, doing his Echo Vox thing. But the lights were answering in unison. We were getting a lot of stuff on the spirit box. It was really, really cool. So and I know, speaking to others who had been there, there was stuff going on in the attic. There was stuff going on in the basement with Kenny. Kenny supposedly had a good night, and I think it was a combination. It was like the perfect storm, not only for storm, but just supercharged an already haunted building and made it kind of turn the volume up. And wow, I mean,
Yeah.
oof, crazy night in so many ways. So, we finished at midnight, and everybody's kind of packing up and leaving. We have to clean up because they come lock the building, and they have to lock a bunch of different areas. And everybody's got their stuff in the car, and we're trying to get out of there. And where Robert and Sandra were, up on the second floor, I kept saying, where's Robert and Sandra? Are they gone already? They didn't say goodbye to anybody, because it's not like them at all. So I went up the stairs on the second floor where they were, and it's still completely dark. And I'm like, yeah, they left. That is so bizarre that they would just leave and not say goodbye. And somebody came by me, and they're like, I still hear people talking up there. And I'm like, seriously? So we go walk down the hallway and into this office area and conference room. And there's Robert and Sandra, totally oblivious to what time it is. It's now 12:30. The event's over by a half hour, and they're still doing what they're doing. And I'm like, over. You people at the table, leave. We gotta go. The building is being locked as we speak. And they're like, oh, sorry, we were having a great, I get it, you're having a great time, but we're at the mercy of the people who run the building.
Hey, you know that better than anybody.
Lock that
Now,
building.
just so you know, Robert, usually that's John who's still going.
Not that long. Not that long.
I have to go run him out of there.
And they got more than their money's worth, Robert. I was going to go and charge them more. Blame you for it. But again, it was that kind of night where you didn't want to stop. There was just so much going on.
No, it was an active night.
Just like, you don't want it to end. And like I said, John being there, and John had a great time. John sold a lot of books. He was signing the books, taking a lot of pictures, and again, we got nothing but good feedback from the people that were there. They were doing Ghost Adventures Overnight Lockdown. Yeah, that's what Robert thought, I think. But we got really good feedback, and again, not just from the people who've joined us before on many events. Those people were there. James, Deb, Cheryl, Mike,
Laurel, Lynn. We can go Wayne, on. Michelle, Lynn, and her husband.
Yeah, I mean, but then we had Melissa, groups of new people that were there, and it was in the attic. Our DVP that said, it's Sam. No one else heard it. Got home, went through my video. I heard it. It's Sam. Very cool.
Nice.
But we got, like I said, everybody seemed to have a good time, and that's all you care about. After a night like that, in which all of that, I mean, we really could have been in that basement for hours, or an hour at least, because at first they were saying that the thunderstorms and the tornado warnings weren't going to end till 10, and then they cut them back. And so we were like, we're going to be here for a while. And then the water started coming in. We're like, we're not going to be here. No, the basement's so big. There's no way that thing would have completely flooded out.
Huge.
But yeah, it was one of those nights that I'll never forget it. We were going to come on and talk about it last night, but I was trying to get John to come on and talk about it. And then I found out late last night, he messaged me and said he's speaking at a college somewhere. So I'm like, we can't just let this sit for 2-3 days, and then we kind of forget things. And No, it was, and then we heard that there was a big tree that fell on the other side of the parking lot because there's multiple buildings there in the museum, and that a big tree fell there. So again, fortunate that it didn't fall anywhere near the building we were in, or our cars, or the cars in the parking lot. It was just, thank God, it was just part of the experience for the night for all of us.
Hey, we deliver the entertainment, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I swear.
Mother Nature showed
I was
up.
shocked that John Zaffis even messaged me back, after that one, because he's like,
He's like, take them off of my phone, they're
things,
blocked.
a tornado, several tornado warnings, and it was just like, but he had a good time, and it was great that
Hi,
he was
Christine.
that he was such a good sport about it too, because
He
it's
was.
like, wow,
Everybody was fantastic.
we dragged him all the way to Jersey, and Connecticut was pretty safe.
Everybody was really calm. They were really cool, and they all came down. Everybody was like, and again, it's scary if you haven't experienced that, or you don't know.
Ursa, my husband, and I had the best time. That's awesome. Thank you for saying that. That's again, at the end of the day, that's all we really care about was that everyone was safe. That we all made it through it okay. But B, yes, we care about everyone having a good time with John and with New Jersey Paranormal as well, because that's why we do it. We having him there was special for me, because everyone knows that John Zaffis is top of the food chain for me. I could have spent 4 hours with him and been, we're not worthy the whole entire time. So having him there, and I didn't even get the whole lot of time with him as much as I would have liked, but going over 2,000 photos. Yeah, Robert, I'm sure.
Wow. Yeah, I know you got a lot of
10 hours of video, because you were up in that area for 10 hours over the time we allotted.
That's a great spot too.
I heard they let you out in the morning, Robert. That you didn't even leave. You came back.
I love that second floor.
But very, very cool event. And again, I hope John comes back and does something else with us down the road, because it was all for me. Again, I love having you guys there as well and enjoying that.
Well, this is one of your ultimate dreams to work and have an investigation with him.
Having him show up with his suitcase and his books, and of course he razzled me and razzed me when he got there, and, like he usually does. But it was awesome just hanging out with him and seeing him in his element. I mean, he's just, like I said, I can watch that guy lecture for hours. I mean, and everyone's laughing and everyone's engaged, because, he's not making that stuff up, man. He's been doing that since he was a kid, with Ed and Lorraine and his own group and his own experiences.
Stories so in his back pocket he's forgotten that he pulls out every once in a while.
That stuff you listen and you sit up for, because there ain't too many guys in the paranormal field that has that kind of, cachet, those credentials. And that experience. There ain't a lot like that, man. Not at all. So when he talks, you take it all in and you listen, because guy's Yoda, man. He's Yoda. So anyway, that was that event. Like I said, John will come on hopefully Wednesday or Thursday, and we'll talk about it from his perspective. I'm sure he has a lot to say about his first ever New Jersey Paranormal event, and probably his last. But I'm definitely looking forward to hearing his perspective on it. May have a potential guest lined up for a live stream interview. I'm working on it, and this is a big one, big one that I'm hoping that I'll be able to kind of announce. Hopefully in the next week or two, hopefully, if I could get this person locked in. Again, another on the Mount Rushmore of the paranormal people. This guy's on there for sure. He's on there. You would know who he was, without a doubt. And he said he'd do it. It's just a matter of locking him in to a date and time. But when we announce that, it's the one you're going to want to watch, because I'm going to pick this guy's brain even more than I picked Adam's and everybody else's. And I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy this guy when he comes on, for sure. And it came out of the blue, because I had asked this person a while back and finally got back to me and it's like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, just tell me when you want to do it. And I'm like, what? And I showed Chris and I'm like, look, he's going to do it. So that'll be cool for us and for you, because we share all this stuff, whatever we're involved in, you guys are involved in. Paul, I see you have a question. You're welcome to ask your question. Again, anybody who wants to come on from the Camp Evans thing, you're welcome to. No pressure. Chris will put up the link again. You could talk about Deb, what you mentioned, what happened with Tanya up there. I'm not in that area. She's not in that area. We weren't in Kenny's area, so we can only talk about share.
We can only talk about what we experienced.
Our perspective. Oh, Deb, you're gonna enjoy this first.
If you click on where it says New Jersey Paranormal, that link right there, and you just follow with what it instructs you to use to allow the camera and your mic, and John will bring you into the feed.
So one thing about Deb, I got to show you something. Garth is going to entertain you for a minute.
How do you deal with losing a friend or someone close to you? Paul, how do you deal with it? I lost a daughter a couple years ago. What do you mean by dealing with it? Are you talking about, on the paranormal side of it? On the paranormal side of it, I don't touch it. I don't touch it at all. And I don't do anything with it. The other side of it, the human side, I went to grief counseling to help me through it.
So let me show you this from my friend Deb. Mm-hmm. Introverted, just a t-shirt she got me. Unwilling to, hopefully I could get it on there. Unwilling to talk about the paranormal. Is that the coolest shirt you've ever seen? She nailed me on that one. Anybody who knows me knows that.
I'm sorry, Paul.
I'm really uncomfortable in a crowd of people that I don't know. If you get me in a room full of people I don't know, like at a party or a big gathering or anything like that, I'm uncomfortable in my own skin because I'm not a big small talk person. I can talk to people I can relate to. And with the paranormal stuff, I can relate to everyone, so I'm comfortable. That's my niche. That's my environment. But to get around people that start talking about like golfing and boats and all this other stuff and cars and I get uncomfortable in my own skin. I want to just retire to a corner where I know someone and just talk to them.
He loves it, Deb.
So that shirt is me dead on. Paranormal, big mouth. I'll talk for 3-4 hours, no problem. Anything else? Probably not. I can joke around. I like joking, but it's got to be on a 12-year-old level. But anyway, Deb, thank you so much. And Deb bought a copy of my book, and she asked me to sign it. So I was tickled about that she would even consider. But here's the thing. We probably a month ago or so, we finished an event at Liberty Hall, I believe it was. It may have been Liberty Hall. I don't know where it was, to be honest with you. And we found an EDI meter. Now, an EDI meter is an all-in-one EMF, geo, temperature. It does it all. Now, we found it, but we didn't announce it anywhere here because we know whoever it was attended one of our events. And we know most of the people, again, we've met a lot of the people through the years, but we also knew that it's not cheap. And we knew that it was Liberty Hall. And we knew that that person would hopefully eventually contact us. What we were afraid of, and again, this is not a knock on anybody watching this live stream, but what we were afraid of is if we announced it, that maybe somebody would have claimed it as their own, which again, I'm sure a lot of you would never do that, but you never know. Somebody might who's watching it and it was shared on their page or whatever and say it was mine just to get a $300 piece of equipment. So we didn't say a word about having it because we didn't want the wrong person claiming it. Thank God. And I thought it was Deb all along. Now, Deb, you said your name was in it. Your name's not on it. It's a DI sticker on the bottom of the unit, which DI, I mean, yeah, of course it makes sense now.
He went looking for it after I told him after we had that discussion.
Yeah, but thank God it was someone like Deb who we know. And again, we held on to it. I have it. It's, whenever you want it, Deb, You want to come to an event, or you want to
Oh,
come?
she's
We'll
gonna be
meet
in
you here.
town.
Yeah, well, no problem. But we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for anyone.
She was so funny. She comes up to me after the scrying session. She goes, and very quietly, she goes, "It's probably gone, but did anybody find an EDI?" And I just looked at her. I gave her that look. Like, for me, it was like, finally.
Yeah, it was like we've
finally.
been waiting and waiting and waiting for someone to ask us about it, and we've done several events since then. That was February, and we're like, damn, where's the person who just lost that piece of equipment and doesn't care?
And I said, we have it. We were waiting for someone to come forward. And I said, finally. So I said, so she's going to come and pick it up when she's in town.
Like, I'm watching Robert put away his equipment, and he's got like barcodes scanning it back in inventory. Like he's putting everything back in place in a specific case. And I'm like, how could you not know that you don't have a $300 piece of equipment?
Well, she has a lot of equipment she was trying to carry. And it was just one of those things. Thank God I saw that it was sitting right there on the end of the table, and I just put it away and just like, we'll figure it out.
But anyway, I'm happy that, again, that we're going to be able to return it to the person it belonged to. But
I don't know.
If that ever happens again, it's the same thing. Reach out to us. Tell us, because if we don't have it,
we're not going to announce it.
We could go to the building and say, did you find it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, because I've left pieces of equipment at buildings that we do ghost hunts at, and I've reached out. I've done stuff at the mine I got to get.
He left one of our sensor. One of the sensor lights got left behind by accident.
I mean, I understand that, but reach out to us. If we can help, we will. If we have it, we'll tell you. If not, we'll reach out to the location. Yeah. But anyway, I'm happy it was Deb. So, but again, it was real nice of Deb to buy that shirt. It was real nice of her to ask me to sign her book. John Zaffis is selling 20, 30 books, and he's autographing all of them. And Deb takes pity on me and says, here's your book. Would you sign it? And I was like, hey, see this, John Zaffis? Big shout over here, John.
I think that was before he had his book, wasn't it?
I'm telling this.
Are you just teasing?
You're such a stickler for, see how she just steps on my funny story.
She gave me a hug. Yep.
What was that first event? Delivery hall. Don't even look. Okay. Yeah, we're the same way. We literally pack everything up, throw it in the car, and then we sort through it the next day because we have to get out of places so fast because they want to look up the buildings. But get John's book. Luann, you never told me you like my book. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Luann. You never even mentioned to me that you like my book. Appreciate that. I do have a book, by the way. It's not paranormal. It is paranormal, but not ghost paranormal. It's called Faith or Fate. And it's about a boy who's born with the ability to heal others. And he's got a whole tragic story. But I wanted to write a book my whole entire life. And I finally did like 10 years ago. That's it right there. So you can get on Amazon or whatever. That's an old picture of me with the short hair and everything. The proper goatee. Look like Fabio. Anyway, but I appreciate that. Again, I worked really hard on that book, and I'm not the best writer. My editing sucks. My sentence structure probably sucks, but I can create characters, I think. It's a truly Uli, a good book. Yeah. Truly Uli, a good book.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm trying to book this other person who we're going to announce soon. We do have an investigation coming up this weekend that I'm not sure if we can stream. I'm pretty sure we can't, but it's the building I told you about that's on the end of all these factories that have all these claims. So we're going to check that place out and see what we can find. We're going to be interviewing the person from the, how do you say, Covenant? I don't even know if that's the name of it. Covenant tattoo parlor that was featured on Ghost Hunters in South Jersey. We're going to be interviewing them first. I think that's on the 11th of April. And then we're going to do a live investigation of that tattoo parlor on April 22nd. So that'll be cool. We get them in first. You guys get to hear all the stories, the behind the scenes stuff. that maybe you didn't hear on the
And see
Ghost
if we
Hunter
can't find
episode.
anything that substantiates all of that stuff. See if it happens while we're there.
And then you get to see us investigate it live, which I think will be really, really cool. So, again, and then you got the Creeper Gallery stuff coming up. You know, Donna always has new items and going in there. I know we're doing an auction soon at the end of the month, but pretty sure we're going to go in there this week. If not, definitely next week. If we're going to go, it'll be tomorrow at 7:30. If we're going to do it, still on the fence about that. How did Creeper Gallery New Hope hold up during the storm? I don't think PA really got hit that hard, to be honest with you. Donna didn't say anything about it. I'm going to be just peeking through the woods. I'm going to BJ's that day peeking through the woods. Oh, so Luann's going to be up that way. She's going to go to BJ's and peek through the woods at us there. Don't make us call security, Luann. You don't want to get tased.
He says we.
We'll have you removed, Luann. We will. So anyway, that's what we're going to be up to. Doing, again, these discussions, doing interviews. I'm going to try to find more people to come on here. Maybe even some people that we've had on already to have another discussion. I really like the idea of speaking with Nancy Olson again, psychic detective. Everybody loved the Halls Mills thing. You guys didn't get a chance to see that. And I need to find out if we're going to do that again. If not, I'll show you the whole entire presentation here, including Nancy Olson's reading, which was the star of the event. I mean,
Yeah.
she was dead on. And she had the historians, their mouth were like. So I like the idea of having her on and a few more people that we've had on before, and to, keep doing these interviews and having these discussions. Let me see who's backstage. Who could this be? Oh, I know that fella.
Hey guys.
Hold on, Robert. Let me.
You have a big finger.
Let me change the layout.
Good evening.
In case you don't know this gentleman, I think he's still at Camp Evans. Is that same office that you're in?
Yes. Yeah. I never left.
Still in the conference room.
This gentleman is Robert Bandorf from Beerfort Paranormal. I don't think he'll ever come to another event either after surviving the hurricane, but they were nice enough, Robert and Sandra, to come join us at this event with John Zaffis. And go ahead, Robert. You take it. You tell me what you thought of the entire night.
It was very, very fulfilling. It was a lot of energy up there, like you said earlier. It's just
a lot of twists and turns, right, Robert?
No pun intended. Yeah.
Were you shocked by the whole tornado thing? Did that take you by surprise as well?
I knew it was coming. It was like, it was coming. So I had a feeling it's gonna definitely be a close call there. I had a hunch, and those tornadoes are not far off from us. That's, I'm glad we all went to the basement and just hunkered down for a bit just to be safe. We even moved our cars just to be sure we're not underneath the trees. There's trees everywhere out there, So, yeah, it was good.
Well, you were the one telling me that they were kind of a mile apart from us. The two.
I think it was like 10 miles west in Howell, New Jersey. There was a spot there, and then down by Brick, south of us or whatever. So,
I mean, that part was scary enough.
There was a report that literally showed that we were in the center of all of it.
No, that line of red moved
everything.
Straight
No, I meant somebody had reported about, and they showed a diagram where all the tornadoes that were touching down all around. It was like a circle right around. We were just like smack dab in the middle of that hub.
So I had said to Robert, the original plan was Robert and Sandra were going to be in a building that we call the bunker house, but they call it the volunteer building. And it's just a ranch type of building that has a bunch of bunks in it. But I've had several experiences there, including seeing a shadow figure or two in there. They were going to get that whole building to themselves. But knowing that this storm was coming, we said, you know what? We're all going to stay in the same building. And I said to Robert, we're going to bring you up to the second floor. You have the whole entire second floor to yourself. And it's a pretty long floor. They've got a lot of claims up there, and he was fortunate enough to hear them straight from the woman, Gloria, who works on that floor, that she had seen shadow figures and different things like that. So Robert, again, to his credit, always goes in with an open mind and a positive attitude to where he's just going to do what he does and see what happens, you
Mhm.
know? So talk about your experiences up there.
Well, I'll tell you, we set up all our equipment up there. We had REM pods on tripods down the hallway, and one was going off like before the event started, and it's like maybe the thing was glitchy, or had new batteries in it. So I swapped it out with another pod. It was quiet, and then it started going off later on again. So there was reports of shadows going across that hallway from that one room to the other in that hallway. So I thought that was intriguing. I captured on video and pictures as well with the pods going off, which I thought was kind of exciting. I'll post that in the near future on our page and share it with you guys.
That wasn't just one, it was multiple.
No, it's two going off the
Yeah,
same
that's
time.
crazy.
Yeah. And then as far as with the guests coming through, we had some interesting EVPs. There was one gentleman had a question, like a Marine type question, where he says like a military base. What is Semper? Can you finish the sentence? Like what Semper Fi was what he was looking for, the Fi, and we did get that response at Fi at the end on the EVP recorder. So it was an intelligent
But you
response.
said you had seen some shadow figures yourself, right?
Uh, I thought I did at the end of the hallway, opposite where the desks are. Sandra said she saw something down there. So we actually ventured down there with a couple of groups and we grabbed our portal and tried to interact down there. And so one of the guests had the SLS camera. They were mapping stick figures along the wall there. So there's a bunch of stuff going on.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that was the thing. And again, I felt kind of bad about because Chris was gonna that was her floor, but I felt bad that you were going to get the whole building, but knowing what was coming, but we were confident that that floor was.
Oh, I had no doubt. So I knew you were going to get something up on that second floor. No doubt about that.
Yeah, it was a fascinating area there. I'd love to go back there in the future. That'd be.
Well, I
That's
told you we're going to.
really cool.
I mean, we're going to get the run of the place, but we're in the future. We're going to have a red buzzer in your area so that when the event's over, I can press, and the light just kind of
He
buzzes.
teaches you, Robert.
Yeah.
I have to go get him too. When
Just
he's
like
involved in stuff, and he doesn't switch because he's so focused on what's happening.
I had a device that I activated when that storm was approaching that deflected the tornadoes away from us, just to let you know.
Is
So
that
they
what
went
that was?
all out
I
of
thought I
the.
heard a strange noise.
So that's why
Was
everything's running
was that
upstairs.
device called the Zaffis?
The Zaffis eliminator, or whatever you want to
I
call it.
think he kept that bubble around us, just
Yes,
the mere
yes.
presence of John Zaffis being there.
Well, all the good stuff we had there, we were protected, very well protected. With John there, definitely. Oh yeah.
But that building, again, that was your first kind of time there on that floor. The weird thing and the rare thing about that building is, just like we were saying before you came on, it's not one place. It's in the attic. It's on that floor. First floor, we really haven't spent a whole lot of time on, and in the basement, just in that building alone. Then you go to the bunker place, and then there's a carriage house across the road.
There's a house across the street.
So I mean, there's area there to be checked out. And now we were just invited to come in to the military museum where they
Which
have.
is off
Yeah, no one's allowed in there, but the guy says he catches stuff on his cameras all the time in there.
All those old artifacts there from the wars and stuff. There's attachments to that stuff.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Again, we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but we were kind of talking before the John's lecture and everything. I don't know if you would agree with me, but the fact that these people were scientists, I think makes it much easier for us in what we do and relating to them. EMF, temperature, none of that is foreign to these people. They're smart people. So for them, I think it would be much easier for them to understand the idea and the concept of what we're doing and what it takes from them for to reach us.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the devices we use, it's probably rudimentary. Like it's very basic. Like, well, what are these guys trying to do to use this to communicate? I even ran like a Morse code app on my phone to see if that would instill any communication and stuff. So, they know, if they want to communicate, and they will, and they did. We got some responses.
They again, we go up there, and Robert is still, the whole floor is still dark. Robert's still in the room. He's got his spirit box there, illuminating the room and everything, red and everything. And I walk in there, and I hope I wasn't that rude, but I was tired. And I go walking in, and I'm like, "What are you doing? We're done." And the people are still sitting there. I'm like, "Come on, we're done. Out. You guys got to go. They're locking up the building. We're done."
When you're in the zone, you're like focused, and you just keep going, and it's like we lost track of time.
Yeah,
To be
I
honest
can
with
see
you,
that
yeah.
easily, there, especially your first time there. It's like, so Robert's got cases upon cases full of equipment, and he's got like just a row of REM. I'm like, how many REM pods do you have there? It's like 8 here and another 5 at home, and I'm like,
I know somebody asked me, "Do you have a convoy that follows you with all of your stuff?"
No, just my Suburban. That's all.
or Sandra too. Sandra's like,
She's a trooper, though. She hangs in there. She's a trooper.
She is.
But we definitely, like I said, there's way more areas, and I'll set up a weekend where we can get in there and really just kind of cover that place, with your stuff and our stuff, and really try some experiments in different areas, because there's a lot to be communicated with there. And I think it's levels. Even John said that when John was down with me, and I was John's last group, and he had his Echo Box, and he's doing his thing there. And I said to him afterwards, and he's telling me what happened on the other floors, and he's like, "Dude, there's levels of S word here." He's like, "It's everywhere."
Yeah.
And we heard that going in there for the first time. And we, like you, during our first investigation, we were in the basement alone. We were planning on going the whole building. We were in the basement alone for 2-3 hours. And there were mist-like energies forming in front of us and moving and then disappearing. And we're filming this as it's happening. And we're just like, could you believe what's going on here?
First contact is always the best. When you go to a place for the first time, they're very intrigued, and they want to communicate or show themselves. That always happens.
We actually have a video.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Was calling me.
We actually have a video of, and it was just because we were just recording and getting the gist of everything. And John had walked up, and he was like in the lighted, and I stayed in the dark area, and we literally caught a mask, a dark shadow mask run.
Somebody's trying to call John again.
Man, they don't take a hit and let it go to voicemail.
But it really, from that heater spot.
I think it's John Zaffis.
Probably.
But literally from that heating spot, for whatever, that you saw that figure run real quick.
I told you about that video. It's a short shadow figure that goes whoop, right across. Really cool.
That. You got to show me that.
There were many
Do you buy into the theory that the lightning energy, the people kind of being a little nervous, that it could have charged things up a little more, took it up a little notch?
I'm sure it's a catalyst. Absolutely. As far as the person's energy and aura and what they're projecting, and just that angst and stuff. Some people were scared with that storm, from what I've seen down in the basement. So and that carries. And the spirits sense that, I'm sure. And they.
I think too. I think gave it a. I really do, because I mean.
How can it not? It energized the atmosphere.
I had so much interaction. I really did. And it was just like, wow. It was like almost as if I had like a button in my pocket. I would reference something down the hall, and boom, it would happen. And I go, I'm like, I can't make this up.
But I think it's twofold. You think about the energy in the air, but what about all of us that when we're all down there and we're all heightened because of, the weather conditions and everything? I think that kind of escalates it too.
Oh yeah, you have 40 people, like you said, down there, everybody like thinking, and they're there to investigate, and they're projecting that thought and energy to do stuff. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you got to think they're not only thinking, okay, this is actually kind of happening, the hail and all the rain, but they're also thinking, God, what's it like at my home? What's it going to be like to drive home? my
Mhm.
car's out there is something, you know what I mean? And like you said, that builds up the anxiety, the emotion, and now you're just kind of throwing another log or two on the fire. And
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, oh, what tree? That tree doesn't fall in our cars where we parked and stuff like that. It'd be it's crazy. He's off the grid again.
Just throw you out.
All right, that's it, Robert.
All right, I think this is a sign.
All right, guys.
You're gonna have to call
They're
it.
not going to stop. All right. Good seeing you again. We'll talk soon.
Night,
care.
Robert.
Bye-bye.
You're like on a
You don't think?
I got to end it.
Yeah.